Imagine this scene. A lone lioness stands on her hind legs in the middle of the road, and like a human being silently begs for help. In the heart of the African savanna, where every day is a brutal struggle for survival, the rangers thought they had seen it all. They had faced poachers, treated wounded elephants, and witnessed the raw power of nature. But they were deeply mistaken. What this desperate mother led them to would not only shock the most experienced rescuers, it would forever change their perception of the wild. The day was drawing to a close. The sun bled across the horizon, painting the grasslands in hues of orange and red. Ranger Alex, a veteran wildlife conservationist with lines of experience etched around his eyes, and young veterinarian Anna, whose passion for animals burned brighter than the African sun, were finishing their long patrol. They were tired. It had been a hot, dusty day, full of routine chores, checking water holes, tracking herds. Suddenly, Alex slammed on the brakes, the old SUV skidding to a halt in a cloud of red dust. Right in front of them stood a lioness. She was painfully thin and emaciated, her golden coat dulled by dust and hunger, her ribs clearly visible beneath her skin. But the strangest thing was her eyes. There was not a trace of aggression in them, only a deep, profound, almost human despair. And then, in a moment that defied all laws of the wild, something incredible happened. Before the astonished eyes of the two humans, the lioness, slowly, deliberately, rose to her hind legs. She did not growl. She did not attack. She just stood there in the fading light and stared. "Alex, she's asking us," whispered Anna, her voice trembling, not believing her eyes. Alex's training, his every survival instinct, screamed that this could be a trap, that a wild animal is unpredictable and always dangerous. But something in her gaze, a desperate silent plea from a mother, overcame years of caution. The lioness took a few painful steps back and turned, as if to say, "Please, follow me." Alex switched off the engine, its silence suddenly deafening. "Stay alert," he told Anna, his voice low. "We're following her." They followed her on foot, keeping a respectful distance. The lioness led them away from the road, through thick, thorny acacia bushes that scratched their clothes and skin. She herself could barely walk, limping noticeably on her front paw. A wound Alex suspected was days old, but she stubbornly continued on her way, constantly looking back, not with threat, but with encouragement, to make sure the humans were still following. The air grew heavier, more oppressive, and soon, they smelled it. The sickening Swedish scent of infection and decay, a scent of trouble that foreshadowed something terrible. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the lioness stopped at the foot of an old giant baobab tree. What they saw there made their hearts sink with a mixture of horror and pure anger. On the ground, half buried in the mud, lay a tiny lion cub. He was still alive, but just barely, his little body shaking uncontrollably from fever and pain. His hind paw was terribly swollen, almost double its normal size, and trapped in a rusty steel snare, a cruel, unforgiving trap set by poachers. The infection had already spread deep into the tissue, turning the beautiful limb into one continuous festering wound. From the state of the cub, it was clear he had been suffering in agony here for many, many days. "He's alive, but barely. We have to hurry," Anna gasped, her professionalism taking over her shock. They worked with focused intensity, while Alex, with steady hands, used special pliers to cut through the thick steel cable. Anna gently began to clean the horrific wound, whispering soothing words to the cub. They wrapped his tiny, fragile body in a soft blanket. And all this time, the mother lioness did not growl or even move. She just stood a few meters away and watched with hopeful eyes, completely, impossibly, trusting them with her child. But when they approached the car, a real miracle happened. As soon as the lion cub was carefully placed on the back seat, the lioness, to their utter amazement, gathered her remaining strength, jumped into the SUV herself, and lay down protectively next to her son. She had completely trusted them with her most precious possession in the world. "She trusts us," Anna whispered in awe. Alex started the engine, and they sped along the bumpy, uneven road toward the reserve's veterinary clinic, which was a critical hour's drive away. Every jolt of the vehicle surely sent waves of pain through the lion cub's small body. On the way, Anna sat with the baby on her lap, monitoring his weak, shallow breathing, trying to provide some comfort. Alex, meanwhile, kept glancing in the rearview mirror at the most unusual passenger he had ever had, a wild lioness, who lay perfectly still, her eyes never leaving her son. At the clinic, the senior veterinarian, Dr. Jacobs, gave them a grim, honest verdict. "The infection has spread deep into the bone," he is severely dehydrated, and his paw, even if he survives this, he may be lame for the rest of his life. But the team refused to give up. A mother had trusted them. And so, the long days and nights of fighting for his life began. At first Leo, as the cub was named, was too weak to eat, and he was fed a nutritious broth, drop by drop through a syringe. His mother, whom they named Zara, never left the side of his recovery cage, her low, quiet purr a constant soothing presence for the baby. His wounds were cleaned and dressed daily, and he was put on a constant IV drip of antibiotics and fluids. And then, on the third night, during a quiet vigil, a fragile shimmering thread of hope appeared. Leo, for the first time, opened his eyes. It was a small victory, but it gave everyone the strength to continue. Day by day, hour by hour, Leo grew stronger. A week later, he took his first wobbly steps, trying to stand on 3 legs. 2 weeks later, he began to show a flicker of his true self, weakly playing with Anna's fingers through the bars of the cage. Zara watched every moment, caring for him as best she could, grooming his face with her rough tongue whenever he was close enough. The combination of motherly love and dedicated human care was working a real tangible miracle before the eyes of the entire team. He began to eat solid food, his coat started to regain its healthy shine, and a playful light returned to his eyes. When Leo was finally deemed fully recovered, the most emotional moment of all arrived. It was time. They drove Zara and a now healthy, boisterous Leo deep into the protected heart of the reserve, far from any known poacher activity. The crate door slid open. After a moment of hesitation, they stepped out into the wild, into their true home. After taking a few steps into the tall golden grass, Zara turned around. She looked straight at Alex and Anna. There were no words in her gaze. It was a language far older than words, but they understood everything. It was pure, silent, profound gratitude. They realized in that moment, they had saved not just a lion cub, they had saved an entire family. This story is living proof that a mother's love knows no bounds, that it can cross the barrier between species, and that compassion can truly work wonders. If this story touched your heart too, please let us know by giving it a like, and be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on new incredible stories about the powerful, unbreakable bond between humans and animals. Thank you for watching.